Hello there everyone, I am Ben the Bold and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Now we actually have a new version of the alpha, that's right, we are in Alpha 3, and along with several bug fixes and just kind of general new improvements to the game, including a new custom battle tag, we have a bunch of brand new Naval Academy missions. So I have actually not even opened this up to see what we have to do, but we now have a mission called Sink the Raiders, it looks like, one called Meet the US Battleships, one called Rise of the Heavy Cruisers, and then a couple down here, there can be only one. Ooh, that one sounds fun. Sink the Cruiser Killer, and then Heavy Duty. Interesting. Well, the way I see it, let's just continue on going. We've defeated all of the other Naval Academy missions. We have those green check marks. So let's just start at the top with Sink the Raiders and let's see what we have to do. So it looks like our objective here is going to defend our transport ships from 3 dangerous cruisers. But these 3 heavy cruisers are threatening 2 of our transports. These cruisers possess a mix of firepower, protection, and speed that can make them particularly dangerous against other cruisers. You can try to deal with them with a number of your own cruisers or a semi-dreadnought, which, although not very maneuverable, its numerous big guns can undoubtedly deliver higher damage. You must sink the enemy cruisers and not let them sink any of our vital transcripts. So it sounds like if one transport goes down, we are out. Well, we have $17 million to build this. We can either build a battleship, heavy cruiser, or a light cruiser. And again, we have to keep alive all of our transports. Interesting, and there's like a long time frame here. Well, at least the enemy won't be retreating, and the enemy sounds like they are going to come to us. So I think I'm going to boost firepower, or maybe I should actually build a bunch of light cruisers. It's going to be 3 heavy cruisers. You know what, let's boost firepower, see if we can take this down with a big strong battleship. Oh my goodness, and look at this little tiny Battleship 3 hull. I'm going to go ahead and increase this displacement. And now let's see what kind of battleship I can build with this hull. Alright, this is the Chinese battleship that I decided to build. Now, I didn't exactly go too heavy on our belt armor. I'm going to hope that we have, with 11.5 inches of armor, have enough armor to repel some of the lighter guns from the heavy cruisers we're going to be facing. We did go ahead and do these 13-inch double turrets. I think that will be much better than the 14-inch double turrets, which was also an option. However, the 14-inch double turrets took 70-something seconds to load, whereas these 13-inchers, they only take about 35 seconds to load. So I think that will help us just get more shells downrange. I feel like that is definitely something we should do. I did just go with standard ammo, but I did decide to go with heavy shells. Let's make each one of our shots count. Let's try to sink these heavy cruisers. I have these 4-inch kind of side guns, as well as a bunch of 3-inch casemates. I do have one torpedo tube down here in the center. I'm not really going to rely on the torpedo tubes. I just think maybe they'll come in handy if I get to a point where I have basically sunk a ship. They might just help me bring it down a little bit faster. Either way, I'm going to rely on these 4 13-inch guns to do most of the work. And again, they're going to fire at decent accuracy, I guess. At least at super close range, they'll have decent accuracy. At 1,000 yards, they will hit 80% of the time. However, at 5,000 yards, they only hit 11% of the time. So we are going to have to close distance. However, it seems that just the tech level of this mission, we're going to be doing a lot of fighting from relatively close range. We're only at 24 knots, but I believe since they're going to have to close to me, 24 knots should be fine. In fact, I might be able to go ahead and just pump up the speed by just a little bit. Yeah, so we'll go 26 knots. Sounds good, and let's give it a shot. Alright, so it looks like we have some kind of new interesting. It looks like we have new markings on the battle map. It tells us exactly where her gun range is. I guess that's useful. And it looks like our 4-inch guns are we're just out of the range of our 4-inch guns. So we might actually go ahead and turn into these ships just to make it a little bit easier for my 4-inch guns to hit. Interesting. I guess I like this new map mode a little bit better than the old one. Maybe. Either way, let's see. How far away are we from these vessels? We're about 7 kilometers, so we probably have less than a 10% chance of hitting. So even though we only got one hit early on this warship, we are not actually anywhere near identifying yet. It seems that the flooding damage that we did was quite extensive as, yeah, they must not have very strong bulkheads at all because they seem to be going down. We didn't have that engine damage initially. Let's take a look. We didn't have that engine damage initially. It looks like they really are in a world of hurt, and oh, I thought that might have been another good hit. Fortunately, we have not taken a ton of damage yet, just a little bit of light damage to one of our towers. So it seems like they are going to try to turn and run away from our battleship, although, oh, I really was hoping that was going to be a good hit. Don't be fooled by the fact that it says that the game thinks it's a battle cruiser. This is definitely a heavy cruiser. It has some pretty strong guns, I feel, although we have not identified it yet. I have a feeling that most of these ships, if not all of them, are going to be of the same class of heavy cruiser. Let's see if one of these shots will hit. No, and indeed, we'll miss again. We're still doing decent damage. They're no longer on fire anymore. Once I know the thickness of their armor, I might consider switching to heavy or high explosive ammunition, but for now, I think I'm going to go ahead and just leave it on auto. I've decided to close distance to, well, pretty close, mostly just because I want to make sure I use my shells a little bit more efficiently. After all, I have the armor that I have more armor than they do. I mean, they only have about 6.5 inches of armor at its thickest, so I want to make sure that my shells hit, because I'm not necessarily worried about their 9-inch guns too much. What I am worried about is this heavy cruiser has gotten ahead of me. I need to try to catch up with it, although I would love to go ahead and sink the King Alfred real quick. They are absolutely going after those transports. The King Alfred's going to go ahead and sink due to heavy flooding, it appears. Look at it go down. I mean, it's been probably a couple weeks since the last time I played this game, waiting for that new alpha. Ooh, look, new damage on the ship. How awesome is that? You can see where our shells have hit their marks. Excellent. I guess I should go ahead and focus on the task at hand. I have to sink these heavy cruisers. I definitely want to go after the Cochrane while I can. Unfortunately, we have taken some flooding damage. We should be fine. How far away is the Cochrane? So we have about a 10% chance to hit at just under 3 kilometers away. So let's try to spread right in between them. I want to keep my eye out for torpedoes, because that could definitely be a thing that happens. It looks like the Cochrane is going to not chase after the transports, which if they were smart, all I got to do is sink one of my transports. Those transports don't exactly have a ton of armor or defenses in general, but if they're going to go ahead and attack my battleship, I'm all for that. Looks like we just got a really good hit on the Cochrane. Unfortunately, our hit was not below the waterline, but they are going to take some heavy flooding damage, and we're just going to keep on going. They're both flooding and on fire. Also, they have some engine problems. They're still moving pretty quick. We're going to fire at them with those 4-inch guns of ours. And here come the 13-inchers, and we're going to miss, of course. Let's see, what is our percent chance to hit? About a 9.5% chance to hit. That's going to get better and better as we get closer and closer. Again, I want to watch out for torpedoes. I have a feeling that they could make a torpedo run, if they even have torpedoes. Actually, I don't think they do. No, they do. No, I have torpedoes. I don't think they do. So the Cochrane is taking heavy flooding damage. Unfortunately, our battleship is on fire. That's not great, admittedly, but the Cochrane is just kind of coming right into just perfect firing range. 17% chance to hit here. Heck, maybe we should fire a torpedo at them. Those 9-inch guns of the Cochrane as well as the Essex, they do start to add up the amount of damage that they can do. But yeah, there we go. Destroyed a main gun. Excellent work from our battleship as the Cochrane tries its best to turn into us. We can turn as well. The Cochrane is about to go down to some flooding. One more big hit should do it. In fact, it may actually flood before we even have to fire at those 13-inch guns again. I feel like the ships are a little bit faster in the new alpha, in the new update. This is, again, Alpha 3. Come on, Cochrane, sink for me. Preferably sink without me having to fire another round. Oh, it's going to be close. Yep, there it goes. It's sinking. So now we move our fire to the Essex. It's the one ship remaining. I feel like we have a pretty decent chance of defeating them. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to auto. Try to get some flooding damage, not just some heavy fires. Meanwhile, where are our transports? Yeah, our transports seem pretty safe. This little dance. Heavy cruiser against battleship. I feel like we're going to win this. Alright, we've been firing away at each other for a while. We have some flooding damage, but they're on fire. Plus, we've destroyed one of their funnels, which I think should slow them down a little bit. We're continuing to hit them with our small guns, however, with only a 20% chance to hit. We have been pretty unlucky with our 13-inch shells, although we have another volley coming up. Hopefully we'll be a little bit more lucky here. No, that was honestly terrible. We also missed with the torpedo, but you kind of expect that. We were just trying to get them to alter their path, I feel, not necessarily trying to get them to sink with that torpedo. I'll tell you what, we are absolutely pounding away, but really we're not hitting them very much, and they are actually getting more hits on me. However, my bigger guns, I feel like, are going to rip through their small-ish hull. Again, their hull is only 5.9 inches at its maximum. So if we could ever get a hit with these 13-inch guns, I mean, yeah, there we go. There's a decent damage hit, plus it's going to cause a fire on deck. Going to turn away a little bit farther. Again, I'm happy to get nice and close. They don't have any torpedoes. No, they don't have any torpedoes. Their 9-inch gun isn't going to penetrate. Well, it just had a penetrating hit. But it's not going to do as much damage as my 13-inch guns. My 13-inch guns fire pretty quick. We're going to fire a torpedo from devastatingly close range. Now, these aren't the biggest torpedoes. They're only 15 inches. But these are also early tech ships. So probably don't have very great anti-torp. Yeah, that's going to do a ton of damage. Plus, I believe we got a 13-inch gun hit there as well. I'm going to just pull off a little bit more. I don't want anything freaky to happen. They are definitely hurting. We should be able to defeat them momentarily. Going to go hard turn, hard turn. Fire those 13-inch guns. Even our 4-inch guns are doing work at this range. Man, alright, so I'm liking the new damage modeling that they've done to the ship. This game is gorgeous, you know, you have to admit. It's just super fun to look at. Just these two just behemoths of ships. I mean, I get that these aren't the largest ships in the game, but look at them. I mean, it's quite something, you know? This one is just on fire. You can just really get a sense of just the utter, like, hell it must be to be on that ship. And, like, the despair of knowing that, like, hey, this ship is going to be giving you everything it's got. Now, for some reason, my guns have just decided to stop firing. Interesting. Here we go again. We actually just got another torpedo hit on them. Our 13-inch guns are still just absolutely doing their work. However, this ship is a lot more stubborn than some of the last ships. That's going to be a big hit. Look at their conning tower being destroyed. But yet, their flooding damage still isn't that great. I still think we are in no danger of losing this, but they must have just better bulkheads or something, because honestly, those first two heavy cruisers, those went down pretty easily once they started to flood. There's going to be another good hit. They have fire and flooding. I think this one's going to go down due to structural damage. Maybe. We'll see. Again, I think if I were these raiders, I would have focused on going after the transports to win this fight. Tried to, honestly, avoid the battleship as best as possible, but that's just a little difficult to do. That's going to be another big hit. They can't tank too much more of this. And indeed, there they go, down into the deep. And that first mission honestly wasn't too difficult. Mission complete. Alright, so that was Sink the Raiders. That one was fun. I would have maybe even liked to try to do it with a whole bunch of light cruisers or something, but we'll have to leave that for another episode. So that was Sink the Raiders. Tune in next time for when we do Meet the U.S. Battleships. Interesting. Ooh, this one's going to be a fun mission, I can already tell. But that will have to be left for the next one. Hey, Hey, if you enjoyed the video today, don't forget to hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see me take on the US battleships mission, and I will catch you on the next one.